Hey everybody, welcome to Ongaku Concept. This week we're doing a transcription of a song from the very first Sonic the Hedgehog game. This is Scrap Brain Zone, the final stage in the game. The music was composed by Masato Nakamura. It is very good, and we're going to be looking at the melody and transcribing that. So I've got it loaded up in Riff Station up here on my other monitor. You can't see it, but you don't really need to anyway. So, and by the way, if you're wondering, the tempo is about 120 beats per minute. Riff Station finds it automatically. It's just handy. So the first thing we're going to do actually is we're going to figure out the key before we go anywhere. Okay. So I hear that kind of build up there at the start, and then I hear it resolve. So I know that first note must be the tonal center. Hey, what do you know? It's A. Most of the songs on this soundtrack are in either C major or A minor, so it's not too surprising that this is in A minor. In that case, we don't need to change anything. The key or lack thereof of a key signature is already enough for us. This is C major or A minor. There's no flats, no sharps, which makes it a very good key to work in. I'm going to add a few breaks here. Well, actually, no, I won't. Let's figure out the time signature. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's in common time. That first part there, it kind of throws you off a little bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Normally I would feel like the stress doesn't feel like 4/4 there for like the first couple of bars. It feels more like 2/4 plus 4/4 plus 2/4 to me. But I feel like it's a bit unnecessary to write that, especially since like it continues looping throughout the song. I think it's fine to put it in 4/4 the whole way through. So here's what I'm going to do. Since that part there's just the intro, the first 2 bars, I am going to I'll come back to this. But what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to put a double bar line right over here to signify that this is the start of a new section. So this is the start of the A section of the song, since these first 2 bars here is the intro. I'm not going to write anything down for these 2 bars because I'm just working on the melody. And yeah, there's kind of like a lead part going on through here, but I consider the melody to start here at the A section. So that's what I'm going to start with. Okay, so do 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 do. So that's the first bar there. 2, 3, 4. That sounds like the tonal center. That's probably A then, since we established that this is in the key of A minor. Okay. And the way so that's A, G, F, and G. The way I go about counting and finding the note durations is I kind of count in 1/8 notes continuously in my head, and then I add them up. So that first note there, do, 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 if I kind of tap in 1/8 notes, do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do, 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 and that's the whole bar. That's 1/8 notes. So in that case, we have a quarter note. I'm sorry, a half note. A. And then we'll tie it to this 1/8 note here. Because a half note is equal to 4 1/8 notes. We'll tie it to this 1/8 note here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. G, F, G. So that's our first bar right there. And we'll continue on. And that's just one note for the entire bar. It's E. we'll put a whole note. It sounds like it's just doing the same thing a whole step down. Although it's probably staying inside the key. So same rhythm. So I'll just copy this and paste it over here and bring it down and adjust. Bring that E flat up to E. I like this repetition. This is a really nice way. Masato Nakamura is an amazing composer. It's a shame he only stayed with Sonic for the first 2 games. But this use of repetition, the notes themselves are different, sure, in these 2 passages, but the rhythm is the same, and the general kind of shape you can see, it kind of dips down, heads back up, and then you skip down a third, is the same, and that kind of repetition makes for very strong melodies. Repetition's not bad, you know. And Masato Nakamura is a J-pop composer, so he knows more about this than many. So there I think we have an out-of-key note, do we? Yes, we do. And the rhythm changes a little bit. Let's take care of the first bar, though. Alright, so I think I should be able to just copy and paste this, move it down. Yeah. So we have F, E flat, D, E flat, going down to C. So we have this out of key E flat, which works, you know, over the, there's a harmony part going on, and so E was changed to E flat to work with the harmony. I'm not going to work out the harmony today. Maybe I'll make another video to add on to this one. But right now we're just focusing on the melody. Feel free to study that, figure out why that E flat is there if you so choose. But yeah, we have more of this repetition. But here, we don't just have a whole note on C. We have a half note. And then it goes up to D. And so we have this repetition again, but because this is broken up, instead of just one whole note, we have a half note. We have another half note leading up. You can tell we're building up to something. Okay. Cool, we got some 16th notes there. Do-do-do. E, F, E. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So that just extends, whoops again. That just extends throughout the next bar. Yeah, and this is again, a very strong melody. We have this part here, we're just repeating that. And then more repetition, but you kind of, he gets out of it by building up, going up the scale here. Do-do-do. And letting the harmony kind of fill in the gaps, which again, we're not transcribing the harmony today, but it's a nice arrangement. It's a really nice song. So let's see, after this bar, what goes on? Okay, so we just repeat the same thing. So we're going to take these double bars with what looks like a colon on the end. And this is a repeat sign. It just says to repeat the section and then continue on when you're done. Then we have this part. And this is kind of like a bass drum breakdown thing, and I'm not going to write anything there because there's no real melody going on. I've got space here. I can scrunch it in here. I might do the same thing I'm going to do up here. You'll see when we get there. But actually, I'm going to go ahead and put a double bar line right here to signify the start of a new section, because we're going on to the B section of the song, which is one of my favorites. One of my favorite parts of this song. Starts to get pretty poppy. I enjoy that. So. Ooh. Lots of nice chords. I really want to analyze this harmony part sometime. Maybe I'll make a part 2 and analyze the harmony, because it's really nice. Yeah, so we actually have this same kind of rhythm going on here, even if the notes and the kind of shape, the pattern, the melodic patterns that are going on are different. We have the same timing. It sounds like an arpeggio. Yep, that is a C major arpeggio. And it makes sense since he's playing over a C chord. I like it. So, same rhythm down here. Start on G. Then we go down to E, C, and C up there. Big octave jump. All right, here we get some out of key stuff. This is very Nakamura. Okay. So I'm always counting in eighth notes, remember. 2, 3, 4, 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do. So that first one lasts 2 eighth notes. That's a quarter note. It's a B flat, by the way. Then we go down to this G. All right. And right here we have a tied eighth notes here. Now, you might think, well, 2 eighth notes is equal to a quarter note. Why not just put a quarter note here? I could do that. And, you know, you can read it, but in general, you want to try and keep the middle of the bar line clear, if at all possible. For example, if you look at this thing, you can't see clearly where the middle of the bar is. It's somewhere in the middle of this quarter note, but you can't point to it. If you have something like this, you can. You know exactly, it's right here. This is where the middle of the bar is. And it just makes it really easy for reading. Of course, with writing notation, the ultimate goal is readability. You want your performers to be able to read what you're writing down, and you want to be able to read it easily yourself. So if something makes more sense to write it one way than another way, use the one that makes the most sense. But in general, I think you're going to find that preserving the middle of the bar line like this really helps for making things readable, especially when you start getting into more complex rhythms. It's really, really helpful to have that there, just to kind of help you subdivide it in your head. Right, so we have this. Okay, so we have that A lasting for a while. Do 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 do. Yeah. Just gonna tie these 3 notes together. And let me double check. Do do do. Okay. Yeah, and here we've throughout these past 3 bars here, we've had a lot of notes on the upbeat. If you lay everything out in eighth notes, when you're counting eighth notes, you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Every time you say and, that's an upbeat. And a lot of these notes are stressed on the upbeat. So do 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 do. Yeah, do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the ands of the rhythm are being stressed here, which gives it kind of a sort of groove. What I like is how here at the end of this bar, he returns to a more straight rhythm. Do 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 do. I don't know, just the fact that this 1 quarter note is on the beat. I like it. It kind of wraps it up in a way. Maybe I'm looking too hard into it. I did like it. So let's see where it goes after this. Okay, so it repeats, save for this last bar where the note holds out. For how long, though? Okay, so it lasts almost a whole note, minus an eighth. So let me think. There's a couple ways I could do this. I think I'm just gonna... I could use multiple endings. For example, I could... do this. This lasts for... there we go. Like that. Or I could just do that. Just whichever you prefer. Although most people avoid double dotted notes in my experience. So I'm just going to use a half note tied to a dotted quarter. I'd rather use the other one just because it looks cool. But you know, I'll stick with this. So like I was saying, I could do that, put a repeat sign here, and then put first ending, bring that up a little bit, second ending. So what this means is once you get to this repeat sign, you head back to bar 13, you continue on, and then when you get to this bar again, instead of doing this bar to close off the segment, you use this one instead. So the first ending, you use this bar, the second ending, you use this bar. And I could, since the whole passage repeats again, I could edit this text to say endings 1 and 3 should be this bar, endings 2 and 4 should be this bar. Alternatively, I could just write out the entire 4-bar thing again, using this ending instead, and then just put a repeat sign over the whole thing. But it's just, you know, conserving space is very important when you're writing out scores, but you also want to make it easy to understand. And sometimes if you have too many repeats going on and too many multiple endings and other things like that, it can just become confusing, especially if you're just trying to sight read, especially if you've never played it before and you're just trying to go through it. So again, clarity is the ultimate goal. However, I don't think it's too difficult to read this. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel about it. So I'm just gonna put 1 and 3 there. 2 and 4 here. Saves a lot of space, and I like that. I'll just drag these up a touch. There we go. All right. And then at the end of this part, okay, so at that point, it just loops back to the beginning of the song. Also, I forgot I need to tie this back to this note. It's kind of weird to show it being tied, though. I'm not sure how I would get around that. I need to show that it's tied to this previous note. I'm not really entirely certain how to do that with MuseScore. I could just take a slur and make it real small. Put it to the edge of that or something like that. But I don't know that that's really the best solution. So I think for right now, I'm going to go ahead and expand this out like I mentioned earlier. Put that down there. Or actually, I'll put it over here. Copy these 3 bars. And get my line breaks straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can just put a bar line here to repeat this whole section. So that's another way of doing it, and it's simpler. I like the other way better, but I'm not really sure what to do about that tie. I'll find out later, and I'll post it in the Facebook group. So that should be it. Although I will do this. In order to indicate that you loop back to the beginning of the song, I'm going to put a DC at the end. Where is it? Repeats, repeats, repeats. I can never find this menu. Repeats and jumps. Okay. DC. It's short for da capo. Just means to return back to the beginning of the song and play from there. I like to put it down under the staff. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it or not, but I like it there. So yeah, here's the melody. Feel free to study the music theory behind it if you wish, to find out where some of those out-of-key notes are coming from. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something about notation and about how to transcribe. If you have any questions at all, you can email me at ongakuconcept@gmail.com or ask me on Twitter at ongakuconcept. If you want to join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/ongakuconceptvgm, it's a fun place for us to just talk about music theory and game music and composing and share our stuff. And I'm going to be talking a bit about this song and the theory behind it over there if you want to join in on the discussion. Although one thing I forgot to do, I need to take care of these extra bars. They're fine sitting here, but I like condensing things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, I believe it's in this menu, create multi-measure rests. Okay. So what that's going to do is it's going to combine multiple points where there are multiple measures with nothing going on, and into one bar, and just put the number here for however many bars you're supposed to rest. In this case, 2 for each of these. It's not really necessary for when you're dealing with such a low number as this, but I just kind of wanted to demonstrate it. It's a nice space saver. You'll see it a lot in orchestral scores where some instruments go many, many bars without playing anything. So that's that. I will post a PDF of this on Facebook and Twitter. And again, thank you for joining me. And I will see you guys next week.